Now, in reality, Colette, the Parliament in Edinburgh has fewer powers than the Faroe Islands, that small island group which is north of Scotland, but which is part of the Danish kingdom. So the question is, can Westminster overturn this gender bill by Westminster's law?
Yes, they can. Sadly, the Scottish Parliament, the Scottish Government, our First Minister, they know that the what's called the Section 35 is in the Scotland Act, part of us being part of the Union, but it's part of the Scotland Act. They know the law, they know the Scotland Act, they knew that this bill went over the boundary into the Equality Act 2010. Now, the Equality Act 2010 is what we call a reserved matter, which is governed by Westminster. So here in Scotland, we have our Scottish Parliament, we have some devolved matters, which our Parliament deals with, and then there's some matters, reserved matters, that Westminster overall looks after for the UK. The Equality Act 2010 is a reserved matter, and due to the protected characteristics about gender and sex, because gender isn't a protected characteristic, sex is, this bill went over the boundary. So the Section 35 order is there for the Westminster to block a bill if they feel that it is required. And because I think with all the controversy, Westminster and the House of Commons decided that they were going to use the Section 35. Now, as an independence supporter for Scotland, I am not happy that Westminster is muscling in that way, but I am glad the bill has been blocked by the UK government. We didn't want it to go as far as it did. I wished our Parliament and our government listened to the likes of our party, all the women's groups that spoke out, but they didn't, and they passed the bill anyway. It didn't have to go as far as this. I think it should have been stopped here in Scotland. It really shouldn't have had to go as far as it did with the UK, but it has. I'm glad it's been blocked, but I just wish the Scottish Parliament had actually listened to us.
I did read that some of the members of the Scottish Parliament now regret voting for the bill, but they felt they were pressured by their own political parties to do so. Many Scots are wondering, Colette, why the ruling party, which was basically elected to end the historic union between England and Scotland, is so focused on gender issues. Now, that had an influence on you and others who used to be members of the Scottish National Party. You're no longer with the Scottish National Party, but are leader of the Independence for Scotland Party. Where do you as a party stand on GRR and women's rights compared to the SNP? I know that's a very big question.
Actually, it's not as big a question as you might think. We've always said that we oppose the self-identification because we knew that that was part of the GRR, that was the main part of GRR. We, again, have no issue whatsoever with people living the way they want to live, so long as it's not invading or endangering anybody else's spaces or their well-being. Now, the GRA, the Gender Recognition Act 2004, it's now nearly 20 years old almost. I think that actually has to be looked at again. It's very outdated to the lifestyle that we're leading now. Bills get passed, and I think after a while, life moves on, things change, mindsets change. So the GRA 2004, I think that overall that actually has to be looked at as a full bill, and whether we need the actual gender recognition certificate, the GRC. I think we need to look and speak to people that have went through the process, post-gender reassignment, transsexuals that have went through the full procedure. They know what it was like to go through the medical interventions, speak to counsellors, psychologists, whatever they had to do. speak to them, get their life experience, because life experience is invaluable to what you put in a bill. So I would actually like the GRA 2004 and the GRC completely looked at and made into a brand new bill for the whole. Just now, yes, we are part of the UK, sadly, as far as I'm concerned, but you know, we are where we are. We are still part of the UK. And I would like, as a whole, for the GRA 2004 to be looked at.
Now, was the Gender Recognition Reform Bill Scotland, the GRR, was that actually an attempt to reform these older acts?
It was, but again, it was mainly focusing on making it easier for somebody just to get the, you know, change their gender, change their identity and self-identify. I think we need to look at more money, more provision, more resources getting put into why people are looking into going down this route. Because this isn't an easy option for anybody. Nobody's saying this is easy. If somebody's wanting to go through surgery, that's not an easy option. And it shouldn't be taken on lightly. So I would like more resources, more provisions, so that people are getting the proper help and support going along that road. Now, they're saying that, you know, it's a couple of years before you get to see anybody, but right now, the way even our National Health Service is, if you're waiting to get a hip replacement or a knee replacement, or really any surgery, to be fair, you're talking many, many years of waiting, because it's a big procedure. And you don't go through hip replacement lightly either. So things have to be looked at. And when it comes to your body, I think you have to be very careful. So I would actually like the bill to be looking not just to make it easier to change your gender, but actually to look at how do we make it better for them to get the better resources and the better advice and professional input for them, so they make the right decisions at the right time in their lives.
Exactly. Winding up, Colette, where does this all go from here? There's a great deal of controversy and debate about the First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon. Could she be forced to resign?
Now, that is a big, big question. I don't know if she'll be forced to resign. I have my worries that if you force somebody to resign, one, as an independent supporter, I don't see it getting us any nearer to independence. And I think just now, I think we really need to come and get our Parliament back into actually doing what they're supposed to do and actually fight for independence. I wish they'd put as much effort into putting a referendum bill through the Parliament and getting the white papers and everything for an independent Scotland, and working on a campaign for an independent Scotland and what they did with the GRR. So I really would like the Scottish Parliament and the independent supporting MSPs within that Parliament actually start to do their job and what they were elected to do. I've heard quite a few times recently with MSPs that voted for this bill saying that they stood on a manifesto to put this GRR bill through. I never heard anybody speaking about the GRR at any hustings or in the manifesto or when they were on the doorstep. It was mainly about independence. SNP are known for independence, and it was always a vote for SNP is a vote nearer to independence. So I would like them just to get on with the day job, to be fair. Nicola Sturgeon and our First Minister resigning isn't going to get us anywhere nearer that. I think really we need either an early election and let the voters make that decision democratically. That's what my first preference would be. And then the likes of ISP would be able to stand in the election and try and get into Parliament and try and move us a wee bit forward to getting Scotland independent.
Colette, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with the School Times today. A fascinating topic, and we've certainly not heard the last of it.
Sadly, I don't think you have, but thank you very much, Peter.
All the best, Colette. Thank you.
Thank you.